Hey guys, and welcome back to another video of me talking about a book. I haven't done one of these in a while because I have been reading The Poppy War. I did finish this book a while ago, but I haven't had time to record videos. I've been doing other things, which I really shouldn't do. I may start doing these reviews on stream, just so I can add them into my weekly routine. That way I'd have to do them off stream, and that way I can just pull the video from stream and then bosh. Done, take it from the stream, put it on my YouTube channel, and then it'll be done. I think that might be a way I might actually start doing things like this. But for now, we're going to continue. What did I think of The Poppy War? So this book has a lot of good reviews. I think this book is a great book, but it does have its problems. So obviously the book starts, starts in quite a quaint village where there is an academy that let's just start all the way from the beginning, right? So you get chucked into a village with a girl. The girl is, but she's been adopted by a family because she has to be, because the current emperor says so. On top of that, the family hate her. Go figure. And she's being made to do things. She's being made to look after the kid, look after the shop that the current family run. So yeah, she's not exactly happy with her life, but she's, what's the right word for it? She's content with where she is. But they try and marry her off to a really rich, basically 90-year-old or 60-year-old, something like that, really old guy, arranged marriage, how it normally is in these random books. And then she's like, no, I don't want to do that. But then she decides, you know what, there is a test that everybody in the country can take when they reach a certain age. And if you reach a high enough status in that test, you have to go to an academy. And there are several academies, but there's only one academy where you get to go and you get to write words for this. I'm just going to write words for this. You get to go for free. You get a scholarship. That's it. So there's only one academy that does that. And she obviously goes for the test, gets into the academy. Obviously, this was going to happen. This is plotline. This is storyline. It's going to go through. Now, if she didn't get into the academy, that would have been a plot twist. But she got into the academy. She goes to this academy, realizes it's not just getting into the academy. She now has to stay in the academy, study, and do all this and do all that. The book to this point, really interesting. I loved it to this point. When she's at the academy, it's a little bit, for me, it was a little bit wishy-washy, because I was like, this is cool, but I want more. She seemed to be very, she was very petty. She got into a rivalry with somebody else. He was extremely petty, and it's like, you're both these apparently supposed to be these really smart, going to this top university, and these teachers are supposed to be top universities teachers. One of them's like a complete dickhead, and he's like, oh, I'm not training you because you don't have a background in martial arts. And it's like, I'm sorry, she's brought herself up from the slums, studied, and got into your university or college, I can't remember what it's called. And you're not paying attention to her? Like, the headmaster in the school would go, I know this kid wants to be here because they have come up from the fucking slums to be here. Like, so I want to know if this person's going to succeed. I want to know what drives them. Do they just want to get here or not? It seems to me like there were there were inconsistencies, and these inconsistencies were to push the story plot to a specific direction, and I understand that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I hate inconsistencies, if you see what I mean. Yeah, and it was all to do with like the teacher was, I think he was racist, if I'm perfectly honest. Um, but yeah, it was one of those things where I'm just like, it just didn't seem quite smart. Like, all these people at the school are meant to be really intelligent people, and this guy just seemed really dumb. And it's like, what are you doing here? Like, I think all the teachers there were previous people who, it's not qualified. What is it called when somebody graduated? That's what they graduated from this school. And I'm sat here thinking, you've graduated from this school. You're really smart, and you're being this dumb. I don't know. I didn't like that part of the book. Like, that part of it was really annoying to me. Obviously, then you go into the more mystical arts part, and there's like this guy. He's obviously the guru, doesn't want to teach the woman first. Then he wants to teach the woman, and he finds out she's a genius. And then he's like, oh no, I can't teach you because you're too reckless and you just want this power for power. And it's just like, eh. And then he has to teach her because otherwise she'll go insane. Yeah. It's a very... what's the right word for it? It's a slippery slope, but it's kind of annoying at the same time because I like as far as the female character who is the main character, for somebody who is meant to have street smarts, book smarts, and is meant to be going to this college and meant to be really smart, she really does make some really dumb decisions, and she's sin shit. And she gets shocked so easily, and she gets paralyzed by like fear or stuff like that so easily throughout the whole book. And I'm just like, yeah. And a lot of people said this book was like brutal. There was only one part in this book, if I'm perfectly honest, which was brutal, and that was right, like, I would say near the end. We'll get to that. I'm just going through the story at the moment, but we'll get to that. So obviously she's going for the academy. She apparently, she has a crush on one of her fellow students, but he graduates a year before her anyway. So that doesn't make a difference. But yeah, the matey, her guru takes her under her wing. He teaches her how to fight. He teaches her how to do like some fancy stuff, contact spirits and gods. Teaches you how to get to they call it the Pantheon. So the Pantheon is basically like a hall of gods, I think. I mean, don't get me wrong, that was cool, but I feel like it was too focused on the Phoenix god. Straight away, it was, she goes to the Pantheon, Phoenix god's there, Phoenix god's there, Phoenix god's there, Phoenix god's there. No, I haven't read book 2. I don't know if she goes back to the Pantheon and finds another god as well. Maybe she has 2 or 3 gods for all I know. I don't. But in the first book, it's all focused on the Phoenix god, and I felt like it would have been cool for her to go back to the Pantheon and speak to more than one god. Like, because I feel like that would have been cool. I mean, the gods aren't going to fight over them all, obviously, but the gods probably want to screw each other over. Let's be honest. So it would have been funny if another god was trying to bargain with her as well, just to spite the Phoenix god. I feel like there could have been a bit more there. And the combat in this thing was really cool. I really liked the academy obviously ended like before year 2 began, or just at the start of year 2 or something, and they were all fighting, and it was really cool when they were holding the town where they were holding, and it was like, the person's using gas, they've got the gas, the person's using this, he's using that. Also, there is a dude who died in the gas apparently. Don't think he's dead. He's not dying. He knows some godly shit, right? And he can heal himself. Guarantee it. And he will come back later on in the books, and he will probably teach her I reckon, how to either control her god, or he will introduce her to another god that will help her. One of these things I think is going to happen, or they're going to become yin and yang or something. She destroys, he heals, something like that. That's my prediction on the second and third book anyway. I believe there are 3. I did like the combat was really cool. The storyline's a bit open for me. I felt like it was a bit obvious under some things what was happening, like with the sergeant guy, the way he was getting high all the time, and obviously they keep saying she is a child of Spear as well, which I really feel like that is debatable. I don't know if she is or not, but I feel like that is debatable. And actually, no, she is, isn't she? Because she saw her mother and father right near the end of the book when she went to Spear. So that is true. When she burnt down like half the freaking island, which was cool. She managed to get revenge on obviously all the the army, like the things they did. I can't be sorry for the civilians that died just because of the things the army did to their kingdom. And no offense, but those atrocities that were committed, I won't go into it too much because it's quite graphic, but there is probably, I don't know how many pages in the book, but I listened to an audiobook. There is a good chapter or 2 that's dedicated to this and what they did, and I feel like the graphicness wasn't necessary, and it was just in there for the shock factor to make the audience go, wow, this is actually grim. And I feel like that is catered towards the modern audience that watch like Game of Thrones, and they're like, oh, somebody has to die, a main character has to die, come on, kill somebody, do something. I want to see some grim blood, or I want to see gruesome shit happen. And I feel like that is the way a lot of fantasy is eking towards, because people want to see that, people want to read that. Personally, I think when it's done to adults, I don't really care, because it's kind of commonplace. But when the writer starts putting what's happening to like babies and children, yeah, it was that for me was a bit much. I felt like it was meant to get an emotional response, and it didn't give me the emotional response where I was angry at the people in the book. I was angry at the writer for writing these things, because I don't feel like it was necessary. I felt like she could have put something like if something in the book like we won't even speak of happened to the children. Do you know what I mean? And something like that. Just because, like, yeah, they made it really graphic, and I just thought it was unnecessary. Like, I understand people are like, oh, where's the women and children? They killed everybody, okay? We know that. We've seen that. But when you take it a step further and you start describing great fucking detail on how they did that, to me, that's going a little bit. It's probably because I've got children myself, and I think it's a bit far. And if somebody ever tried doing things in this book to my children, they would not live past fucking tomorrow. But yeah, I felt like those parts were going a bit too far. But after it gets past that, the book to me gets better again. It was good. I liked the stratagem in the book where like people were going through strategizing, and then obviously the old master was there, and then he went off somewhere because he had to be locked away because he was turning into like God's vessel, and she went and found him, and she opened him up and was like, hi, how you doing? And then they also let another god out, which was terrible because he's a dickhead. yeah, I feel like okay. Yeah. So I liked that part. They went and found them. And obviously, you had the other two go off on the mission, and then they got captured, obviously, and then they were gonna get experimented on, but they broke out because she accepted the Phoenix, not fully, but mostly. And then obviously they broke out. Then the other dude decided to let the Phoenix through him or something, but not fully, and he burnt down a whole mountain, and it was pretty cool. She swam to Spear, and it was a lot of, and then she went to Spear, and then she just accepted the Phoenix, and then she thingied, and then they went on the boat, and then it was pretty much the end of the book. And she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go kill the rest of the army now," and she burnt down the opposing army's homeland, which I have no fucking pity for that homeland. Anybody who raises people like that is fucking disgusting. Obviously, don't get me wrong, there are probably people who there are probably people on that homeland who are innocent. But yeah. Also, there was a certain shock factor. Sorry, about there was a certain shock factor about what they did to women, obviously in war, and I felt like it was in that like chapter. There is like one chapter in this book, or this dark like part in this book, where it like tries to go into the grimness of war and the grimness of this, and like the really dark, deep, and it was very much. I understood that they wanted the shock factor, but I feel like they took it too far. I don't know. I just felt like I don't want to read about that. I don't want to exactly say what it was, but I don't want to hear about what happened to the children in the book. Like really nasty shit. It's not like, oh, they killed all the children. You know, you read that, you think, oh, that what cunts. You know, you have a hatred for the army in the thingy. But it was like, it was very descriptive on what they did to the children and what they did to the babies. And then there were like, what they did to the women. And I don't think they did a lot to the blokes. I think they just killed them. No, they didn't. They did the other thing. They tortured them. But you know that I understand that. Like that has been around and commonplace for ages. But I really don't. What I really don't want to see, which I keep seeing recently in books, is commonplace talking about. Like I understand torture if they're prisoners of war. It happens, you know. This is things that happen, but it's very commonplace for them to just get an innocent character or an innocent, like say a child, an infant, and they're like, this is what happened to this infant, for pretty much no reason. I'm going to describe to you in great detail how we tortured, killed this infant, and what we did to their dead bodies, and it's just like. You're just doing this for shock factor. Is there any need? And the same with the woman. Where there wasn't just this is what happened to the woman. It was this is what happened to the woman. I'm gonna write not 6 chapters. I'm gonna write a whole chapter about this, and I'm gonna write a chapter. I'm gonna write an additional chapter on what happened to another woman while we were in this state, and I'm gonna talk about this in great detail. I understand that you have to talk about this. Well, it was like really prolonged. It was like, yeah, I personally didn't like it. There are people out there who probably loved it. Wasn't for me. Do you know what I'm saying? It wasn't for me. But the rest of the book was cool. It was okay. The combat was a little bit wishy-washy because it was always like, oh yeah, we have. We focus on fighting with swords, axes, and all this stuff. And you obviously got shaman who can use fire and crap. But then this opposite army is using gas. Like, deadly gas, and they're wearing masks for this gas to protect against it. And it's like, so you've invented like a gas that kills people. Why don't you just run through the streets with this? Like, why was this a second option? Why did you send troops into? Yeah. Or you would just wait for a big wind, wouldn't you? And you would go downwind of the city. You would just release all this gas, and you would kill everybody in the city, right? Am I wrong? I feel like that's what you would do if you were in that war. But yeah, it was what it was. But overall, it was a good book. The world building was lovely. I love the world building. The world itself was really nice. Cities felt real. Characters in the cities felt real. Like, everything in the book, like world, characters, felt real, felt good. Everybody had their positives, their faults. You've really felt alive. Book felt alive, the cities felt alive, which is really cool. I like to see that. The only thing that, as I said, the only thing I didn't like was particular chapters. But yeah, it was a really, really good book. But I am going to... What would I rate this out of 10? Why does everybody rate everything out of 5, by the way? Alright, let's rate it out of 5, because everybody else apparently wants to rate it out of 5. What would I rate this book out of 5? I would have to give it a 4. Yeah, I think it would be a 4.5 if it wasn't for the whole torturing and killing of kids. Just really descriptive. For me, that put me off. And I actually didn't read part of the... Well, I listened to it, and then I had to put it down for a while because it was really... It really annoyed me. And then I came back to it later, and I was like, okay, just listen to it, block out all that crap, and just go through. Like, it was really annoying. But yeah. But I reckon it was a good 4. Definitely don't read if you're of the faint-hearted or if you're under the age of 18. But apart from that, it was a pretty good book. Will I read the second one? I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. But we have got to find a book to listen to or read. I really want the Wheel of Time to come back out. That would be cool. Part 2. I think I've listened to part 1. That looks fucking sick. Have I listened to this before? I might have listened to this before. I mean, read this before. Alright, this book sounds cool. Is this... I want to know if this book is... like the first... You know, I'm in the first of the series. Well, there's like prequels to it. So if there's prequels to it, I always like to listen to the prequels first. Then the books, and then, you know, go forward. So I'm pretty sure this is... This guy's writ 9 books. Okay, this was his, I think this was his first book. Yeah, this was his first book. So this would be probably the first book, I want to say. Yes, yeah. So he's got 2 trilogies out. He's got the Vagrant trilogy and the Deathless trilogy. So I'm gonna next hopefully sometime gonna listen to this book. It's called The Vagrant by Peter Newman. I've got to find it and buy it. It's gonna be fun. I'll just read you the thingy. The front cover looks really cool. So this is what the what is that? You know when you flip to the back and it's like gives you like a brief interlook at the book. So here we go. The Vagrant is his name. He has no other friendless... What? Okay, the Vagrant is his name. He has no other. Friendless and alone, he walks across this desolate, war-torn landscape, carrying nothing but a kit bag and a legendary sword and a baby. His purpose is to reach the Shining City, last bastion of the human race, to deliver the sword, the only weapon that makes a difference in the ongoing war. But the Shining City is far away, and the world is a very dangerous place. Why is he carrying a baby? Like, that's one thing I didn't see. Why is he carrying a baby? So I don't think I could read this if something happened to the baby. Well, I guess we'll find out. So next time we're gonna listen to I'll come back and I'll review this one, The Vagrant. If you guys have any books you want me to review, as I said, let me know. But we'll see. Until then, guess I'll see you guys in a bit. Peace and goodbye. That was wrong button.